Oh, wait, ask the question again.
What's the most painful thing someone has ever told you?
I immediately think of a bunch of different things of what could be painful.
If you asked me this like 20 times and I gave 20 different answers, the thing that'd be the same is like they'd all be things where somebody was like trying to hurt me. Like it wouldn't be like an awful thing. It would just be like something that's like somebody's trying to hurt me.
I feel very blessed that there's not multiple things coming to mind initially.
I had a person that I really cared about tell me that she had no idea who I was after like 4 years of knowing me. And like we'd been very close, like romantically, even closer as friends. And then this whole thing happened that was like totally my fault. Just, because I was lying left and right because I have this bad habit of trying to make people happy. But that often means that like you just try to make people happy by either saying yes to everything or saying no to everything, even though you know that you can't do both. And when it comes to romance and like love, like that never works out. You got to be like brutally honest with people sometimes. And yeah, like I definitely had fallen for this girl. And like when I told her how I felt, too much had happened. And she was like, I don't even know who you are anymore. I don't want to know you anymore. Yeah. So.
But I remember like there's this kid who like, he was like, in all my time I've known you, I've never seen you angry. And he was like, what does it take to piss you off? Like, and he was just like trying to see, like he just wanted to see what it was. And he hit a point where he was just like straight up like just calling me the N-word just like again and again. And it was somebody that it wasn't even like an enemy of mine, it wasn't like this kid who was like trying to bully me. Like it was this kid who like just desperately wanted to see me snap. But instead it was like, it like deflated me. And there was another kid who was mixed who was behind him. And we just like looked at each other for a minute and we're just like, no, it's not like we're just like, there's no rule for this. There's no book for this. Like, we're just like, let it pass. I don't remember it ending. Like, I don't remember how it ended. Like, cause I never said anything and he never said anything. And like, there were just a couple kids like watching it. But I remember being like, oh, this hurts because like, he's not like, he doesn't even hate me like for my race. He doesn't hate me. He just wants to like see something from me. But it's like, I wish he didn't have to, like it was like, it's just one of those things that's like a very surreal image.
I think this is a really interesting question actually to ask because I think I've heard a lot of really hurtful things and people have said things to me that have been probably technically the most hurtful things. And yet those might not have been the things that actually caused me the most emotional pain. I had a partner tell me that I loved them too much in a bad way, obviously. And so to feel like I then had to swallow love was really felt like an evil thing to do to myself. And also to not be appreciated for what I was giving, or to be told that it was wrong, or to be made to think that I was crazy, like I was obsessive, like I love someone too much. I think love is feeling in action. I don't think it's just a feeling. I do think it is an action. It's an expression. So to be told that I was expressing this feeling in action too much, I think if anything it's more showing that this person couldn't handle it. I do think I still carry a fear of my capacity to love, because don't think I even love that person all that much. So like that fear of like, I'm gonna love someone more than that. And that's kind of scary. And I'm scared that I'm gonna scare them. That.
Until a few years ago, the summer going into my junior year, even myself, like I kind of like judged myself for wanting to pursue a career in the arts. The judgment I've received from people when I tell them that I'm studying dance in college, they don't get that. They ask me like, "Oh, like, but what's your major? What's your academic major?" I say, "Well, I'm studying dance. That's my major. I mean, I'm hoping to pursue a double major, but my passion is dance." Growing up in a community like Danville where everybody is so worried about themselves and them being perfect, and the competition that's within friend groups, and I've just received a lot of comments, and I'm sure you probably feel the same way. Like my passion for dance is so much greater than my worry about what others think. I don't care. I love it. And I know in my heart that like it's not silly. It's not a stupid or non-realistic dream. The world needs the arts so much right now in so many different ways, and I think that I just like want to that to be my outlet for helping the world become a better place.
I think this is something that I've been told a lot is or just been like maybe not told in exactly the same words, but just kind of like reinforced throughout my romantic career is that it's really not about like me as a person or my personality. I have very large breasts, and a lot of people just really truly that's all they care about. And it can be hard because it makes you feel like you as a person don't matter and you only physically matter, which is really disheartening and not fun to experience, especially when they're people that you want to confide in, but then you're kind of just left high and dry because they don't actually care about the brain or anything like that.
I think one of the most painful things I ever heard in my life was that my father had glioblastoma. And I had to hear twice the level of what he had. My dad died of glioblastoma 5 years ago, 2015, April 1st. And the first meeting we had with him, he went to a doctor at Brigham and Women to do an assessment of his brain because we knew something wasn't going right with his brain. And he wasn't that old. I think he was like, he was 77 when he died. So I think maybe 75, as you can see, it's painful. And my brother noticed something first. Looking back now, I notice, oh, that was that. That's why Dad did that. And he asked me to come with him to the appointment with my mom. And that's like something, I'm really good at appointments like that. Like I'm really good at thinking and I take notes and really good at communicating that to everybody else in my family. And I went to the assessment, to the after appointment after he'd had an MRI done on his head, and he did all the tests that he was supposed to do. And we went into the meeting with the doctor. My mom was there and I was there. And the doctor said, I have some bad news. There's a mass in your brain. And it was the most, that was a very painful moment. Because you're left in like a vacuum. The quality of the air in the room changes immediately, you know, and it's like, I was so aware of that. I was so aware of my dad, so aware of my mom. And it's like everything literally just, the room just got, you know, like that. At that point, it looked like a nugget in his brain. So the next thing he had to do is get a MRI with contrast, and they put die through your system, and the cancer sucks it up. The next most painful moment, equally painful moment too, was finding out how bad it was, because we first thought it was a nugget, and then we discovered that it was like spaghetti through his brain. And in that moment, my siblings were there with me, and my mom and my dad, of course, and they bring you through slices of the brain, pictures, boom, 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 boom. And that was really painful. And I came home, I was alone, and one of my friends called me, and she said, she hung up, she said, I'm coming over. She didn't even ask me. She said, do you want to come over? I said, no. And she goes, I'm coming over. And she hung up, and she just came up. And it's like, I knew then, because glioblastoma, you really can't cure that, because we first thought that maybe they'd be able to cut some of it out of it and it opens up your survival. And the glioblastoma is usually 18 months after discovery, you're dead. And my dad went 19 months with treatment and everything and died. I still wasn't ready to be in the world without my dad, and I knew that I would be soon. And I still wasn't ready to be myself without who I am reflected back to me by my dad's eyes. And I still miss it, because he was the best. So that was probably one of the most painful moments, more painful than him dying. It was really painful.